Start your week with a triple shot of good vibes. This is the Project Joy podcast. I'm your host, Jessica Dugas. Thanks for joining me. And now it's time for this week's story of joy. I have to use this period of time here for gratitude again. And I think this is going to be a lot of my stories of joy. It's going to end up being just complete and utter gratitude. I'm so thankful for so much of the responses that I've gotten about this podcast and specific episodes, as well as, of course, responding to different things that I've talked about or shared in each of the episodes. And so this particular story of joy, I want to say thank you so much to everyone over the last few weeks who has sent me birthday wishes, who has been so amazing in responding to my episode 5 about birthdays, who has complimented me on my singing and at the end of the episode, which was, that was really special to me because music has always been a big part of my life. And for many years, I've gotten away from singing. And it wasn't very long ago that I was part of an event where the other people in the event who didn't even know me took the time to say, look, we're just getting the message that you need to get back into music. And so I said, it's so funny because I've been thinking about that myself. And singing happy birthday and I've been sending birthday songs to everybody every day on Facebook that I hear it's their birthday, personalized birthday songs at that. And, it's been a lot of fun to get back into that. It may not be performing at the Met. It may not be getting a Grammy, but I'm finding my wings again with music. And so it really meant a lot to me that everybody reached out in that way. And speaking of music, I posted on my Facebook page that I wanted to receive 39 birthday songs in my messenger box for my birthday. And I honestly, I didn't know if I would get it. There's so many people that I'm connected with that are like, listen, Jessica, you don't want to hear me sing and all of that. And so, I thought, I don't know if I'm going to get 39 birthday wishes, but I did. I ended up getting more than 40 total. And, even more than that, people wise, if you include some people got their kids involved, some people got other people in the house involved. I was in a business meeting the night before and the whole group sang happy birthday. It was the most, because of the lag and stuff on the computer, it was the most horrifying yet the most beautiful thing I've ever heard in my whole life. So it was amazing. And see, the thing of it is, last week I talked about, on the show, joy and love. And I talked a lot about expectations and, why wouldn't you want to fulfill something that someone wants if you know it brings them joy. And this is exactly what that was for me. It was so meaningful to me. And there were so many people that, like I said, came in my messenger and said, I hate singing, or started it with, I am really bad at this. But then they would continue with, but this was your wish and it's what you asked for. So here I am. And I was so moved by that, you guys. It just lit me up. And I'm sure I wish I would have done video for this episode because you could just see, I hope you can hear my face just absolutely lit up. So for this story of joy, I just thank you guys so much for all the birthday wishes and all the birthday love. And I appreciate you and love you so very much. And, again, wherever you are, if it's your birthday today and no one's told you happy birthday, and I love you and you're special and amazing and have a wonderful day. We'll be back in just a minute, guys, with more Project Joy podcast. What's up, everybody? It's Jessica here from the Project Joy podcast, and I'm here today to tell you about something that has been completely life-changing for me. Are you tired of trying to get stuff done by yourself? Do you need accountability? Are you ready to finally, not just talk about it, but do it, declutter your space physically, mentally, emotionally to live the best possible life you are here to live? Then you, my friend, need the BYOC or Bring Your Own Clutter membership. This membership is run by my friend Heather Clark, and it has been life-changing for me. You need this. You need this in 2020. Join us. Go to declutterforchange.com. And now back to the podcast. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Project Joy podcast. I'm so excited you're here with me today. And we are talking today about joy in leadership. Joy in leadership. And this is going to be an interesting topic for me because I have really, over the course of my entrepreneurial journey, struggled with identifying as a leader myself. I think there are periods of time in my life where I've recognized myself as a leader. And I'm not sure if it was so much as a leader as it was just a take charge person. Because I think there's a difference between being a leader and a take charge person. And I think there's a difference between being a leader and just friggin' type A. I think there's a difference between leadership and a lot of things. And so I want to talk a little bit about today what true leadership means. And I also, of course, want to talk about the joy in leadership and where I think a lot of times that joy is lacking. And can we actually still call it true leadership? So I was reading online. So Forbes.com says a great leader possesses a clear vision, is courageous, has integrity, honesty, humility, and clear focus. Great leaders help people reach their goals and are not afraid to hire people that might be better than them and take pride in the accomplishments of those that they help along the way. I love a lot of that. I love all of that, actually. When we're looking at leadership, I think it is really important for a leader to have clear vision and clear focus. And I think that's where some of my struggle has been in finding joy in leadership, is that I think I've had clear vision and clear focus, but not on everything. And there's oftentimes many things at once that I have a vision and focus on. I'm just so multi-passionate. And sometimes that can come across to people as all over the place, when in my head, it makes perfect sense to me. And I know other people like this, by the way, and people that I'm very close to who will hear this and say, I think she's talking about me. I am, and I love you. And I'm also talking about me too. So, it can be difficult if you're multi-passionate to feel that clarity of vision and focus. But I think that can be a good thing too. I think that many of us who are very multi-passionate and who often feel scattered, we are not necessarily coming across that way like we think we are. One of the mentors in my life, Brandon Marshall, and shout out to Brandon. Brandon's got some amazing programs, out there. So be sure to check out who the F is Brandon Marshall. But he was saying, like, you may feel like you're coming across this way and you feel scattered. And then somebody else will tell you that that's not actually the way it came across. So just throwing that out there. As far as leadership goes, you're probably, as he put it, your own worst critic. And that has definitely been the case with me 9 times out of 10. So it also talks about being courageous. And I love that as well. I think it's important for us as leaders to take risks, and it's important for us to do that and show, as we're taking those risks, here's another big part I think is important. As we're taking those risks, it's important for us to show our failures as well. To not just show our success, to show our failures, because what happens is these light switch moments that as I refer to them, where people on social media and people that are following us, will see going from rich to poor, from poor to hopefully not in that direction. Let's switch that, from poor to rich, or from fat to skinny, or from, sad to happy. And they don't see in between how many times you've fallen, or how many times you failed, or how many sad days that you've had, or the real challenges that it took for you to get from point A to point B. And so I think part of that courage is issuing the courage in the journey, and to share all the bits and not just the before and after. A big portion of this leadership is the integrity and honesty portion. There are so many people right now, especially in the coaching space, that are teaching on things that they are not living. And that's discouraging. It's disheartening, and it's frankly, it's bothersome. It's frustrating. It angers me a little bit. It's a little annoying to see people who, you can't have these abundance coaches who are not living in abundance, or telling you how to create a great website and they don't have a great website, or telling you how to earn this is my favorite, earn 5 figures a month. And they've literally done it one time, and they were like, I'm going to tell people how to do that, but they can't multiply that for themselves. That's not living in integrity. And so for me, like, when we're thinking about these things where that is concerned, there has to be some joy missing there. There would be for me. So if I was, let's just take that example of the 5-figure a month coach. Okay. If I had made 5 figures in January, and I thought, now I'm going to tell people, it's June, and I'm going to tell people how to make 5 figures a month, and I haven't since then made 5 figures a month, that would feel like a lie to me. And maybe it doesn't to other people. That's fine. That's your own thing, their own thing. But that would feel like a lie to me. That would feel like, why couldn't I do it for myself? And there would be joy missing there. And because there'd be joy missing in my leadership, there would then be joy missing that I'm passing on to other people. And I think that that's really what I want to get into, where leadership is concerned, and the joy to be found there is that I feel like over time, there have been amazing leaders, but that there has been true joy missing from their life and from what they portray to other people, and joy missing from how they lead. And they could have so much of a bigger impact if they were doing something that brought them more joy. There have been great leaders and great entrepreneurs over time that, they make a lot of money. Yeah, they touch a lot of people. But imagine if there was more joy present in what they do and in their life, that they could be farther. They could reach more people. And I always look at energy in my life and in my business, and I think to myself, if I have joy in what I'm doing, that joy is going to pass on. So if I'm missing joy when I'm presenting something, like just a minute ago, when I touched on something that got me a little fired up there for a minute, if I allowed that to bring me down on this podcast, I would then be passing that on to you instead of passing on joy. And that takes away from it for me. That doesn't fulfill what I feel is my obligation to you as my listeners. I promised you joy. I promised you joy, and I wouldn't be passing that on to you. So while I think that all of these things, clear vision, courage, integrity, honesty, humility, clear focus, not being afraid to to recognize that other people are better than them, not being afraid to take pride in their accomplishments, helping other people reach their goals. I think all of that is great, but if it is not packaged with, I'm doing something that I love, I'm doing something that brings me so much joy, and that's not what you're passing on to other people, I think that we as leaders can do better. I think we as leaders could be so much better as leaders if we wrapped it up with a wrapping paper full of joy and handed it out that way. We'll be right back for more Project Joy podcast. You have an amazing moment of joy you've experienced in your life? Tell us about it by emailing us at projectjoypodcast@gmail.com. And now back to the podcast. Next week on the Project Joy podcast. I'm so excited to be coming back with you next week for another Joy in Stories episode, welcoming a good friend of mine, Shoshana Chaim, to the show. Shoshana is one half of the Plant Trainers podcast, an amazing podcast out there. You should go take a listen to that. And she's on a mission to really change the world through plant-based health and wellness. So I'm really excited to hear about the joy that lights Shoshana up next week. So be sure you join me for that. Thank you so much for joining me today. Please take a moment to rate, subscribe, comment, and share where available. And until next time, make joy a priority in your life today and every day. I'll see you next time. You've been listening to the Project Joy podcast with your host, Jessica Dugas. We'll see you again next Monday and every Monday for another episode to start your week off right.